The Harvard Law School auditorium was overflowing long before the event began. Students sat shoulder to shoulder, notebooks ready, eyes fixed on the stage where a single chair waited beside a polished wooden table. The air hummed with anticipation. It wasn't often that a sitting Supreme Court justice visited, and it was even rarer that such a visit carried the electricity that filled the room today. Justice Elena Kagan entered with her usual blend of quiet confidence and approachable charm. She greeted a few professors, shook hands, and eased into her seat. Her reputation preceded her: sharp intellect, balanced perspective, and an ability to turn complex legal theories into digestible lessons. Many students came expecting a masterclass in constitutional interpretation. What they didn't know was that they were about to witness something far more unforgettable. Jasmine Crockett, the Congresswoman known for her unapologetic fire and piercing clarity, stepped into the auditorium moments later. She did not slip in quietly. Her presence moved through the room like a wave, strong, certain, undeniable. Conversations paused. Heads turned. Whispered recognition floated through the air. Everyone knew Jasmine. Everyone knew what she was capable of. But no one imagined how different today would become because of her. She took her seat in the front row, legs crossed, notepad resting on her lap, gaze fixed on Kagan with a focus so intense it was almost physical. She didn't blink. She didn't shift nervously. She looked like someone ready, not to learn but to challenge. The moderator introduced Justice Kagan, who began with a thoughtful overview of constitutional history. Her voice was smooth and practiced, every point flowing neatly into the next. She explained the evolution of judicial restraint, the significance of precedent, the delicate role of the court in maintaining democratic balance. The audience listened, captivated. But Jasmine listened differently. She didn't nod along. She didn't smile politely.
She analyzed.
She measured. She prepared. As Kagan wrapped up her introduction, the moderator opened the floor for dialogue. A beat of silence passed. Then Jasmine raised her hand. Her movement was deliberate, calm, but firm, like someone who asked questions not out of curiosity, but necessity. Kagan acknowledged her with a warm smile, expecting a typical academic inquiry. What followed was anything but typical. Jasmine began speaking in a steady, unwavering tone. She referenced specific court decisions with surgical precision, challenging the real-world impact of rulings Kagan had helped shape or supported. She highlighted cases involving voting rights, civil liberties, and the human cost behind legal language. Her words didn't wander. They cut. The room shifted instantly. Students leaned forward. Professors stopped taking notes. The moderator's eyes widened slightly, unsure where the conversation was heading. But Jasmine was absolutely sure. Justice Kagan maintained her composure, but the subtle tightening of her posture told the truth. She hadn't expected this level of directness. She gave a measured response, defending the logic behind the court's decisions. Her tone remained polite, but her words grew more deliberate. Jasmine didn't interrupt. She waited. Then she pressed again. Her follow-up wasn't a question. It was a confrontation wrapped in professionalism. She challenged gaps between legal theory and lived experience. She described communities overlooked by judicial detachment. She painted pictures of people affected by rulings that seemed simple on paper, but devastating in reality. Kagan's eyebrow lifted, barely, but enough for the whole front row to see. This wasn't just a tough question. This was a direct challenge to the Supreme Court itself. It was the moment Elena Kagan realized Jasmine Crockett wasn't backing down. Jasmine leaned forward slightly, locking eyes with Kagan. Her voice stayed steady, but every word hit with weight. She wasn't attacking the justice. She was demanding accountability from the system the justice represented. A system Jasmine believed needed to hear the voices it often overlooked. The auditorium grew so quiet that even the soft hum of the overhead lights became noticeable. Kagan took a breath before responding. She was thoughtful, careful, and noticeably more engaged now. Her answers expanded. Her explanations stretched wider, deeper. She wasn't just delivering legal scholarship anymore. She was defending her institution's decisions from someone who truly understood their consequences. Jasmine listened with intensity. She didn't roll her eyes, didn't appear skeptical. She listened like someone preparing to respond with even more precision. And she did. She dissected inconsistencies. She held Kagan to her own words. She brought up rulings from other justices, other terms, other contexts, showing how they interconnected with the issues she cared about. Every sentence built upon the last. Every example hit harder than the one before. Students who came expecting a standard academic lecture now found themselves spectators to a rare intellectual standoff. Some began recording. Others whispered, unable to comprehend the boldness unfolding in front of them. Jasmine finally paused, giving the room a moment to breathe. She glanced around, making sure the audience grasped the gravity of what she was saying. It wasn't just legal theory. It was a lived reality that affected millions. Kagan nodded slowly, acknowledging not just the point, but the conviction behind it. The justice responded again, more candidly this time. Not defensive, not dismissive, just honest. She addressed contradictions, admitted complexities, and explained the limitations of the court's role. Jasmine respected the honesty, but she didn't soften. She pressed once more. This time, Kagan paused for longer. Her expression shifted with something deeper: respect, challenge, maybe even admiration. It was a moment only those in the room could understand. The realization that she was seated across from a woman who didn't fear titles, robes, or reputations. A woman who spoke with the kind of clarity that cut through prestige. A woman who refused to back down. The conversation continued for several more minutes, turning into a powerful exchange that blended constitutional theory with human experience. The moderator barely spoke. The audience didn't move. When the dialogue finally ended, the room erupted, not with wild applause, but with the stunned kind of clapping that follows a moment of undeniable significance. Justice Kagan stood, offering a composed smile, but her eyes revealed something honest: acknowledgement. Jasmine Crockett had challenged her in a way few ever dared. And Jasmine stood without hesitation, her expression unbothered, confident, steady. She had done exactly what she came to do. As she walked out of the auditorium, students turned to watch her, whispering about the moment they'd just witnessed. A moment they knew they'd talk about for years. Because that day, Jasmine Crockett didn't just participate. She reshaped the conversation. She held her ground. And she made sure one of the most powerful legal minds in the country knew exactly what she stood for.